You should slow down. You're invisible. You shouldn't wear bright lipstick. For our entire lives, society has fed us a story about what it means to be a woman over 60. But when you finally arrive here, you look around and realize that story is a lie. Today, we are taking on the 9 biggest myths about aging head-on. We'll dismantle them with facts, with wisdom, and with the real-life experiences of incredible women. Prepare to feel seen, validated, and ready to live life on your own terms. These are not just comforting words. They are truths backed by a growing body of research that points to a reality far more vibrant and powerful than we've been led to believe. The story of aging is being rewritten, not by marketers or magazines, but by women just like you who are living it. And if you believe in changing this narrative, not just for yourself, but for the generations that follow, consider subscribing. It's a small click that sends a big message. We are here, and our stories matter. Let's begin with the heaviest lie of them all, the one whispered in our ears from the moment we spot our first gray hair. It's the lie that our best years are behind us. We see it in movies where women our age are relegated to the role of the quiet grandmother or the eccentric neighbor. We hear it in backhanded compliments like, "You look great for your age." The underlying message is that youth is the peak, and everything that follows is a gentle, inevitable decline. But what if that entire premise is scientifically backward? Researchers who study human happiness have uncovered something remarkable, a phenomenon known as the U-bend of happiness. Imagine a chart of life satisfaction. It starts high in our youth, then dips down in our stressful middle years of career building and family raising. And then something amazing happens. Around our late 50s and early 60s, it begins to curve back up, often soaring to heights even greater than our younger years. What causes this surprising resurgence of joy? It's not magic, it's earned wisdom. After 60, we possess a superpower called perspective. The small daily dramas that once felt like the end of the world now seem manageable. We've survived job losses, raised children, navigated complex relationships, and weathered storms. We know in our bones that this too shall pass. This perspective allows us to focus on what truly matters. We spend less time worrying about the opinions of others and more time cultivating relationships and experiences that bring us genuine joy. Think about it. How much energy did you spend in your 30s and 40s trying to please a boss, fit in with other parents, or maintain a certain image? What could you do with all that energy if you had it back? The good news is you do. You do. It's a reservoir of power you can use to learn, to create, to travel, to connect. The pressure to prove yourself has faded, replaced by the quiet confidence of knowing who you are. This isn't a consolation prize for getting older, it's the grand prize itself. So, the first action is a mental one. The next time you hear that whisper that your best days are gone, correct it. Say to yourself, "My wisest, most authentic years are just beginning." Acknowledge the truth of the U-bend and start looking for the evidence of it in your own life. The deeper appreciation for a beautiful sunset, the uncomplicated joy of coffee with a friend, the freedom of a schedule that you control. This isn't wishful thinking. It's aligning yourself with a well-documented psychological reality. The second lie is a direct consequence of the first. It's the lie that after a certain age, women become invisible. It's a painful feeling, the sense that you've walked into a room and no one has noticed, or that your opinion is overlooked in a conversation. We are bombarded with images of youth as the standard of beauty and relevance, and when we no longer fit that narrow mold, society can have a way of looking right through us. This feeling is real, and it is infuriating. But what if we've been misinterpreting this change entirely? What if this supposed invisibility wasn't a curse, but a different kind of power? Think of it as a cloak of liberation. When you are no longer being constantly watched and judged by the male gaze or the competitive scrutiny of others, you are free. You are free to wear what you want, say what you feel, and do what you please without the exhausting weight of external approval. This isn't about accepting being ignored. It's about shifting your focus. Instead of seeking validation from the outside, you cultivate it from within. And a funny thing happens when you do that. You become more magnetic, not less. Confidence is compelling at any age. When you walk into a room not needing anything from anyone, but simply inhabiting your authentic self, people notice. It's a different kind of notice, one based on respect and intrigue, not superficial judgment. How can you harness this power actively? It starts with commanding respect when you want it. This means practicing speaking clearly and directly. It means making eye contact. It means not hedging your opinions with apologies like, "I'm sorry, but," or "this might be a silly question." Your life experience has given you a perspective that is invaluable. When you choose to share it with the authority it deserves. This is the difference between being overlooked and being underestimated. When you are underestimated, you have the element of surprise. You have the freedom to observe, to think, and to act without interference. The practical takeaway here is to start practicing selective visibility. In situations where you don't care to be the center of attention, enjoy the peace of your invisibility cloak. But when you have something important to say or do, take the cloak off. Stand up straight, take a breath, and speak your mind with clarity and conviction. You may be surprised by who starts listening. Now for a lie that is not only insulting, but also scientifically wrong. The idea that you can't learn new technology. This myth is everywhere. It's in every joke about a grandparent fumbling with a smartphone. It's in the condescending tone someone might use to explain a simple app. The message is that our brains are fixed, that they are like old dogs incapable of learning new tricks. For decades, even scientists believed something similar. But what if our brains are more like muscles than machines? In recent years, this idea has been completely overturned by the discovery of neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is the remarkable ability of the brain to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections throughout life. Your brain is not a static object. It is a dynamic, living system that is constantly adapting and changing in response to your experiences. Every time you try something new, whether it's learning a phrase in a new language, figuring out how to video chat with your grandchildren, or even just trying a new recipe, you are physically changing your brain. You are building new pathways, strengthening existing ones, and keeping your mind flexible and resilient. Think of it like exercise for your brain. Just as physical exercise keeps your muscles strong, mental exercise keeps your cognitive abilities sharp. Research has shown that seniors who engage in new and challenging mental activities can improve their memory, attention, and problem-solving skills. The key here is the word new. Simply doing the same crossword puzzle every day isn't enough. The greatest benefits come from stepping just outside your comfort zone. So, what's the action? Pick one small piece of technology that you've been avoiding. It doesn't have to be complicated. Maybe it's learning how to use a food delivery app. Maybe it's figuring out how to listen to podcasts on your phone. Maybe it's creating a digital photo album. Don't try to learn everything at once. Just choose one thing. Watch a tutorial. Ask a grandchild for help, but ask them to teach you, not just do it for you. And be patient with yourself. Every small victory isn't just about learning a new skill. It's about proving to yourself that your brain is powerful, capable, and ready for the next challenge. You are not technologically illiterate. You are simply in the process of learning. This next lie is a subtle one, a cage built from expectations of how a lady should behave. It's the lie that women, especially older women, should be quiet, graceful, and agreeable. We are taught to be peacemakers, to smooth over conflicts, to put the comfort of others before our own truths. After 60, this expectation intensifies. We are supposed to become serene matriarchs, doling out gentle wisdom from a rocking chair. Any display of passion, anger, or strong opinion is seen as unbecoming, as difficult. This is one of the most damaging lies because it seeks to silence our greatest asset, our voice, honed by decades of experience. But what if the world doesn't need more quiet, agreeable women? What if it desperately needs our wisdom? It needs your perspective on politics, on community, on family, on what it means to live a good life. Your voice has been earned. You have seen social movements rise and fall. You have seen political promises made and broken. You have seen fads come and go. You have a long-term view that is incredibly rare and valuable in a world obsessed with short-term thinking. To silence that voice is a loss for everyone. Embracing your right to be outspoken doesn't mean becoming abrasive or unkind. It means giving yourself permission to disagree respectfully. It means stating your needs clearly. It means sharing your story without fear of judgment. It means setting boundaries. When you speak your truth, you give other women permission to do the same. You become a model of what confident, mature womanhood looks like. Think of women like the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who was still writing fiery dissents in her 80s, or any of the countless activists and community leaders who are making their greatest impact in their later years. They weren't quiet. They weren't always graceful. They were powerful. Your action step is to find your platform, no matter how small. Maybe it's speaking up at a local town hall meeting. Maybe it's writing a letter to the editor. Maybe it's simply being the one in your friend group who isn't afraid to have a robust, respectful debate. Start by noticing the moments when you silence yourself out of habit. In those moments, ask yourself, what is the worst that could happen if I said what I truly think? Often, the answer is not much. And the best that could happen is that you could change a mind, inspire an action, or simply feel the profound satisfaction of being heard. Let's talk about love, passion, and romance, because the fifth lie is a cold and lonely one, that romance and intimacy are reserved for the young. As soon as we cross a certain age threshold, popular culture tells us our romantic lives are over. We are desexualized, portrayed as companions at best, but rarely as passionate, desirable partners. This is not only untrue, but it's also harmful. Human beings are wired for connection our entire lives. The need for touch, for intimacy, for a loving partnership does not vanish on our 61st birthday. In fact, for many, this can be a time of incredible romantic discovery. Think about it. The kids are grown. Your career is likely winding down. You have more time and a much clearer sense of who you are and what you want in a partner. The frantic, often insecure dating games of your 20s are a distant memory. What kind of relationship could you build now with the wisdom you possess? You can now approach relationships with a maturity and self-assurance that was impossible when you were younger. The data backs this up. Studies on senior dating show a thriving landscape of people finding love and companionship later in life. Online dating sites now have dedicated sections and even entire platforms for people over 60. And intimacy is not just for the young. While it may change, it can often become deeper and more emotionally fulfilling. It becomes less about performance and more about genuine connection. The key is to remain open to the possibility. Many women, after a long marriage or a painful divorce, understandably close the door on romance. But being open doesn't mean you have to be actively searching. It simply means not buying into the lie that you are no longer a romantic, desirable person. So what's a small, practical step? It's about cultivating your own sense of romance first. Treat yourself with the love and care you would want from a partner. Buy yourself flowers. Take yourself out to a nice lunch. Wear the perfume that makes you feel beautiful. When you radiate self-love and contentment, you become a more attractive person, not just to potential partners, but to everyone around you. And if you do feel a spark of interest in dating, be curious. Explore the options without pressure. The goal isn't necessarily to find a husband, it's to find connection, and that can come in many wonderful forms, including deep friendships and joyful companionship. Don't let a societal myth rob you of the potential for love in this beautiful chapter of your life. This brings us to the sixth lie, a lie about purpose. It's the belief that your contribution is over. The narrative goes something like this. You work for 40 years, you get the gold watch, you retire, and your productive life is finished. Now your purpose is to play golf, travel, and watch the grandkids. While those things are wonderful, the idea that they are the only things is incredibly limiting. It assumes that our value is tied only to our paid employment. This lie can lead to a profound sense of loss and aimlessness for many new retirees. But what if your career was just one chapter of your contribution, not the whole book? Your skills, your experience, and your wisdom do not expire when you leave the office for the last time. In fact, this is the moment when you can deploy them in ways that are most meaningful to you, free from the constraints of having to earn a paycheck. This has given rise to the concept of an encore career. This isn't just a part-time job to make ends meet. It's about finding work, paid or unpaid, that combines personal meaning, social impact, and often a continued income. It could be consulting in your former field, starting a small business based on a lifelong hobby, or working for a nonprofit whose mission you are passionate about. But contribution doesn't have to be a new career. Mentorship is one of the most powerful roles a person over 60 can play. You have navigated challenges and learned lessons that are pure gold to younger generations struggling to find their way. Offering your guidance to a young person in your field, in your community, or even in your own family is a profound act of contribution that ripples outward. And let's not forget the immense value of volunteerism. Studies have consistently shown that older adults who volunteer have lower rates of depression, better physical health, and a greater sense of purpose. Your action step here is to conduct a wisdom inventory. Sit down with a piece of paper and write down the skills you learned in your career, the hobbies you are passionate about, and the life lessons you hold most dear. Then, next to each one, brainstorm 1 or 2 ways you could share that wisdom with others. Could you teach a community class on gardening? Could you volunteer to help small businesses with their bookkeeping? Could you mentor a young parent? You have a treasure trove of experience. The lie is that it belongs in a museum. The truth is, it belongs back out in the world making a difference. The seventh lie is a cautious one, dressed up as concern. It's the lie that you should stop taking risks. Be careful. Don't overdo it. Stay safe. While well-intentioned, this advice can shrink our world until we are living in a tiny, risk-free, and joy-free box. This lie confuses foolishness with courage. It equates taking a calculated risk with being reckless. Of course, no one is suggesting you should take up base jumping. But the fear of any risk, the fear of falling, the fear of getting lost, the fear of trying something new and failing can be a self-imposed prison. Where do life's greatest joys often lie? Just on the other side of our comfort zone. This is a time for smart risks, not for no risks. What is a smart risk? It's a calculated, life-enhancing adventure. It could be traveling solo for the first time. It could be signing up for a painting class when you're convinced you don't have an artistic bone in your body. It could be starting a conversation with a stranger. It could be investing a small amount of money in a friend's new business idea. These risks are not about courting danger. They are about courting life. They are about pushing your own boundaries and discovering new capabilities you never knew you had. Each time you take a small, successful risk, you build confidence. You prove to yourself that you are still growing, still capable, and still brave. This has a powerful effect on your mental and physical health. It keeps your brain engaged and your spirit alive. So the takeaway is to plan a small adventure. Look at your week and find one opportunity to do something that makes you just a little bit nervous in a good way. It could be as simple as trying a new route on your daily walk, going to a restaurant by yourself, or finally calling that old friend you've lost touch with because you were afraid it would be awkward. Start small and let the thrill of that small act of courage propel you toward your next, slightly bigger adventure. Don't let the fear of what could go wrong stop you from experiencing all that can go right. This leads directly into one of the most pervasive and fear-inducing lies of all, the lie that after 60, it's all downhill for your health. We are conditioned to see aging as a synonym for sickness and decay. Every ache and pain is seen as a sign of the inevitable decline. While it is true that our bodies change and we become more susceptible to certain conditions, the idea that a downward spiral is unavoidable is simply not true. It's a deterministic view that ignores the single most powerful factor in your health, your lifestyle. How much control do we really have? More than you might think. The science of epigenetics has shown that while we may have certain genetic predispositions, our daily choices, what we eat, how we move, how we manage stress, and the quality of our relationships can literally influence how those genes are expressed. You have far more control over your health span, the number of years you live in good health, than you have been led to believe. What is truly revolutionary is the research showing that it's never too late to make a difference. You don't get a pass on health just because you're 61. In fact, studies show that lifestyle changes made even in our 60s and 70s can have a massive and surprisingly rapid impact. Starting a moderate exercise program like daily walking has been linked to improved cardiovascular health, stronger bones, and better moods. Shifting to a diet rich in whole foods like fruits, vegetables, and lean proteins may help manage inflammation and support cognitive function. These are not miracle cures. They are simple, evidence-based practices that put the power back in your hands. This is not about trying to turn back the clock or look 30 again. It is about tuning up the beautiful instrument that is your body so you can continue to play your music for as long as possible. The actionable step here is profoundly simple. Choose just one small, positive health change to focus on this week. Don't try to overhaul your entire life overnight. That's a recipe for failure. Maybe this week you commit to drinking one extra glass of water each day. Or you add a 10-minute walk to your morning routine. Or you swap out a processed snack for a piece of fruit. The goal is to build momentum. One small, successful change makes the next one easier. You are not a passive victim of the aging process. You are the active, powerful CEO of your own well-being. By now, you might be noticing a pattern. All these lies about your relevance, your mind, your purpose, your health, all stem from one big, fundamental lie. And this is the 9th and final lie we will dismantle today. It is the lie that you need to fight aging. The entire multi-billion-dollar anti-aging industry is built on this premise. It tells us that aging is an enemy to be battled, a flaw to be corrected, a disease to be cured. We are sold creams to erase our wrinkles, dyes to cover our gray, and procedures to lift what has fallen. The message is that the natural process of living is something to be ashamed of and hidden. This is the most exhausting lie of all because it is a fight you can never win, and it forces you to be at war with the one thing you can't escape, yourself. What is the alternative to this pointless war? The alternative is not to give up or let yourself go. The alternative is to shift from an anti-aging mindset to a pro-aging one. Pro-aging is about working with time, not against it. It's about accepting the reality of physical changes while focusing on maximizing health, vitality, and joy at every stage. It's about seeing your laugh lines not as flaws, but as a map of a life filled with expression. It's about seeing your gray hair not as a sign of decay, but as a silver badge of wisdom. This is not a passive acceptance. It is an active, joyful, and defiant embrace of your whole self. It means caring for your skin with nourishing moisturizers because it feels good, not because you're trying to look 40. It means moving your body because you love the feeling of strength and energy, not as a punishment for eating dessert. It means choosing clothes that make you feel vibrant and confident, regardless of what a magazine says is age-appropriate. The moment you stop fighting a battle you cannot win, you free up an enormous amount of energy. It's energy you can pour back into your relationships, your passions, and your purpose. The ultimate act of rebellion against this lie is to be unapologetically, joyfully yourself at exactly the age you are. Your action is to look in the mirror today and find one feature you have been taught to dislike because of age. Maybe it's the fine lines around your eyes. And instead of criticizing it, thank it. Thank those lines for the thousands of smiles and expressions they represent. This small act of kindness toward yourself is the first step in making peace with the beautiful, natural process of a life well lived. Now, it's fair to have some objections. It's easy to hear all this and think, that's lovely, but my reality is different. You might be thinking, it's easy to talk about passion and purpose when you're healthy, but I live with chronic pain. Or, I'd love to take a risk and travel, but I'm on a fixed income. These are real, valid concerns, and they deserve to be addressed. The principles we've discussed are not about ignoring limitations. They are about finding the power and possibility within your specific circumstances. If you live with chronic pain or a health condition, the lie about health being downhill can feel particularly true. But even here, you have agency. Your power might lie in becoming an expert in your own condition, in finding a supportive community of others who understand, or in focusing on the small things you can control, like your mindset or a gentle stretching routine. The goal isn't to be a marathon runner, it's to find the highest quality of life available to you today. If finances are a major concern, the lie about contribution being over is actually a hidden opportunity. Your wisdom inventory is not just about volunteering, it's about monetizing decades of experience. An encore career might be as simple as tutoring, offering your skills as a consultant online, or turning a craft into a small business on a platform like Etsy. The risk-taking we talked about doesn't have to cost a penny. The risk might be emotional, reaching out to an estranged family member or joining a new social club. And if you feel invisible and unheard, but you're also an introvert who is exhausted by the idea of being outspoken, remember that a quiet voice can be just as powerful. Your contribution might be through writing, through one-on-one mentorship, or through being a source of calm, steady wisdom in your family. The key is to adapt these truths to your own life. It's not a one-size-fits-all prescription. It's a compass pointing you toward your own unique version of a powerful, vibrant, and meaningful life after 60. It's about taking the spirit of these ideas and asking, how can this work for me right here, right now? We have walked through the 9 biggest lies society tells women over 60, and we have replaced them with the truth. The truth is that your happiest years may very well be ahead of you. The truth is that your perceived invisibility can be a source of incredible freedom and power. The truth is that your brain is capable of growth and learning for your entire life. The truth is that your voice, full of passion and wisdom, is needed now more than ever. You are a romantic and desirable being. Your capacity to contribute is boundless, and your life can be an adventure of smart, calculated risks. Your health is not a foregone conclusion, but something you can actively nurture. And most importantly, aging is not a battle to be fought, but a journey to be embraced. These are not just nice ideas, they are a framework for a new way of living, a way that is grounded in self-respect, confidence, and joy. If this conversation has resonated with you, if you feel a spark of recognition and a desire to live by these truths, then join us. Subscribe to this channel and ring the notification bell. By doing so, you become part of a community of savvy seniors who are actively rewriting the story of aging. You'll get more uplifting, evidence-based content that supports you on this journey. You are not just watching a video, you are casting a vote for a more positive, realistic, and empowering vision of life for women over 60. You are affirming that your story matters. Your life is not an epilogue. It is the brilliant, powerful third act. Live it well.